You just make way more than I would like. Just eating up here.
3 sets what Joe got me in. 360.
Yeah, he's my artist.
3 sets. I thought it was a 720.
How do y'all schedules align though?
This is the schedule.
Oh, damn, Pat Riley.
It's he comes up here.
I started, yo. Don't get him.
Joe Buddens Co Host called him out for overworking them. Yeah, and also Joe says he doesn't want to pay them that much. Well, guys, the passive-aggressive levels on the Joe Budden podcast are getting crazy. I mean, it's getting to the point where the power meters on Dragon Ball Z would break. For those of you that don't know, ever since Joe leaked his numbers by mistake, the cast has been talking about how much money they should be making, saying 50,000 ain't enough. I came into this game wanting more paper than Puff, but now I realize Puff paper ain't enough. That's right. Extreme pocket watching is happening. And this all began in a discussion about, kind of how Joe likes to overwork people. They even talked about the splits people should had, all migrating from the presence of the 520 podcast, which is Jeff Teague, B-Hen's podcast. I really don't watch them that much, but a lot of people say great things about them, and they're really popular, so shout out to them, folks. And Joe first asked what was the splits, and everybody said it was 25%, 25%, 25%.
And Mike.
Yeah.
That's 25.
Right.
And Mike.
Don't forget about my man over here doing this.
And Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Wait, all that being fair shit?
You hip hop niggas want y'all different splits.
I was surprised that the splits of the podcast is 25%. Everybody watch the 520 podcast. I don't know how Jeff Teague is on that pod and he's only doing a 25% split. Let's check back with them in a few years later. Now, the rest of the cast was making jokes saying, oh, he's loyal. These guys are loyal. People believe in loyalty. But really what they were doing is they were taking a dig at Joe Budden, who is not giving equity to anybody in his podcast unless their name ends with Schwartzman. Also, they talked about the idea that Joe overworks them. Now, a lot of people are starting to coin the term Joe Budden sweatshop. And those people are Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz. Remember, they talked about it on their episode of Brilliant Idiots where they said, yo, there's people overworking their staff.
Do we need 2.5 hour podcast? Do we need 3 hour podcasts? I'm asking. I really don't know. Is this 3 hour? I love all of the guys that do long form content.
Yeah.
I don't want to take 3 days to get through the pod. Bro.
Yeah, I think people are at work for a long time, bro.
3 hours?
I think people work for like 9 hours.
God damn.
Every day.
And then when I did an interview with Heineken, he said, yo, Joe Budden keep him in there all day.
I think Joe, I know you know how much Joe records. I don't think people understand.
Mm-hmm.
He's really, I don't want to say this because Ish is my dude. Ice is good with me. So is Imani. Flip, whenever I see him, it's all love. He's really running a high-end sweatshop. They be in there for hours, Danny.
And it's not insignificant that Heineken said that because he's interviewed Ish a couple times. And that lets me know that maybe he's talking behind the scenes. Hell, Ish even talks about it when he's doing Source Magazine and when he's doing other interviews. He's like, yo, we be working so much. We just do it all day. It's so hard it's hard out here. It's so cold in the day. So the podcast hosts are positioning Joe as somebody who likes to work them a lot. And Joe then later on says, I'm trying to find ways to pay y'all less, or I want to pay y'all less than what y'all make. So there's a lot of passive-aggressive stuff going on. And what's happening is when guests come by, people start to act differently. They got to speak. You see this with Kev on stage. You see this with all types of guests that come through. They are lashing out. And it's looking like jokey, hardy har-hars. But people really feel this way. I think when them numbers leaked, they were like, yo, damn, we be in here from sun up to sundown, and we getting this portion of the money. Now, everybody who talks to me about this, they say, nah, Danny, these people are grown, mature adults. They know they did not help create the show. They know that they are not folks who helped build it like Rory and Mal, so they don't even get profit sharing. They know their place. I don't know. The way the human mind works, you kind of find ways to rationalize your greed. Like Isha Nice may say, yo, I am somebody who helped the podcast stabilize after Rory and Mal left. Mark might be like, yo, I helped take this podcast to the next level. It's being clipped up by the Young Turks. People are putting us on different types of blogs than we were before. Flip might be like, yo, when this stuff stagnated with Ish and Ice, I came and turned it up. Melissa Ford might be like, yo, I have the most viral moments of the show. Y'all clip me up. There's been tons of traction. Eddie Griffin, Cameron, what about me? Denny Manny might be like, yo, back in the day, I used to take shorts on tour. You talking about Parks deserves more, but I was on tour carrying stuff, I wasn't even getting paid. So what I'm saying is that, yes, these people may all feel like, you know, Joe's entitled to make the lion's share of the money, but the way they're acting on air isn't consistent with that. And I want to shout out Project. First, he was like, this is in regards to the leak. First, it was accidental. Then it was intentional and it was made for motivation. Then after that, Mark Lamont Hill and the boys are joking about starting a union. It's all jokes, but beneath the surface is real stuff. And Joe's also hinting at wanting to pay the cast less. He's made that joke a couple times before. And I think he's not the only one that feels that way. There's hundreds of people, well, thousands, who probably feel like that number that the podcast threw out in the article of, you know, them possibly making 100 to 200,000 a year, they don't deserve that. There's people who feel like they should be making half that, maybe less, getting the Julian special. But only time will tell if this is truly in jest or if the cast feels underappreciated ever since the New York Times article came out. Man, it's crazy how our actions can blow back on us, right? I don't think Joe thought that when he leaked the Patreon numbers by mistake that all of this would happen. Was the New York Times article done after the Patreon numbers leaked? Was it like, yo, let's write this New York Times article so that way the leak looks a little bit more structured and it doesn't look as messy as we made it out to be? And I saw Ian, he was on the behind the scenes trying to clean it up, making it seem like it was intentional. He did this bit where he pretended like he planned it, but can't stand it. You didn't plan it. It was a sabotage, y'all. And it's going to have large reaching ramifications. Bookmark this. Once again, I'm telling y'all, there's a lot of things happening this episode. There's more content I'm making about this episode. I didn't think this much was going to happen. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier in the video is the 520 podcast is doing a 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, even split. Oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. We might see the Jeff T podcast someday. I don't even know how that's good. So you mean to tell me Jeff T could be outvoted? What is this, Potter House? That was the same situation they had. They had like a 25% split of whatever decision making. So then when they made a vote, people would get outvoted, and that led to the downfall. So watch them guys, y'all. Pods have broken up for less. Let's see how long this volume deal is. But anyway, leave what you think in the comments. Do you feel like Joe's joke about wanting to pay the cast less is more severe than we like to think? Do you feel like Joe Budden overworks the cast from sunup till sundown, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he's threatening to do another day? So it might be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, or I don't know. It's already Friday. It's dangerous out here. I might have gotten the days mixed up. Anyway, I'm sure the comments will be forgiving of that mistake. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. Follow me on Patreon, The Stop. We got a lot of good stuff going on there. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.